If you're a Los Angeles Lakers fan or even a basketball fan, you know an NBA All-Star and NBA championship player by the name of Ron Artest. You also probably know that he changed his name in 2011 to Metta World Peace. Brandon is ready with him now.
NBA champion, 4-time defensive player of the year, or all defensive player team, whatever you guys call it in the NBA. All-star, like, bro, you name it, you've done it. And you've also walked the halls of Congress. So how do you go from playing in the NBA at an extremely high level to then walking the halls of Congress? Tell me about that story.
Man, obviously playing at a high level, pro sports, it was great. And when you see a lot of different issues, you want to use your platform to help issues that you care about. Mental health was one of them. And I had the opportunity to go with you, to Capitol Hill. Yeah. A great time. And, they listened to us. It was really a great experience.
Yeah. So you go back and I think about what's going on in the NBA right now. The NBA leads discussions to me in culture, in sports, in business, in tech, and also in mental health. Yeah. You have DeMar DeRozan standing up, Kevin Love, some of those stories that we hear about all the time. But you were one of the first NBA players, one of the first super athletes to stand up and say, yo, I deal with mental health challenges, or I have a journey. And I want to hear a little bit about that journey. Like, if you could take me back to, when you knew, you needed to talk to somebody and why, and then how that led to you being on Capitol Hill, standing up on your platform.
As an athlete, you grow up and you have dreams and you want to win a title, you want to win MVPs, and you want to go to All-Star games. Now, when you're being self-destructive and you're killing your career early, you start to ask yourself these questions. And when you start to ask yourself these questions, the answers are you need to improve yourself, you need to meditate and different things like that. And when I thanked my psychologist when I won the finals, I wanted to show appreciation, for the group of people out there that are going to school for social work or psychology and therapy and wanting to give public service, to the people. And I thought on that big stage, I just wanted to, just give thanks where it was due. And I thought my therapist really helped me a lot. So that's how you get to Capitol Hill and start to put out good messages.
Have there been a huge change in the NBA since you stood on that platform and said, look, this is what I'm dealing with, and this is also something I want to champion to today? Are there more research? I mean, are there more programs and do the players have access to more things to get the help they need? Because when you look at an athlete, like, we spend so much time on the physical, but the game in life is 80% mental. So I'm curious to see the change the NBA has made over the years since you stood up on that platform.
Well, in 1999, Jerry Krause, RIP Jerry Krause, he knew I was going through a lot once I got into the league. So with Jerry Krause, he pretty much got me a psychologist at an early age. Back in 99, you didn't want to tell the public that you was going through things because they wasn't as acceptable. Media, people was, making slurs and different things like that. Whereas in 2020, people are more vulnerable, more acceptable, and they're less likely to say a bad slur, with the exception of a few people. But if you're having depression, they would call you crazy and they wouldn't really support it, such as Dennis Rodman, when he was talking about he grew up with no dad, was homeless, and people were still, they wasn't saying, oh, Dennis has been through a lot. They were just saying, Dennis is crazy. And that was back then, and now we're in a different time.
Yeah. So, guys, we're here. We're raising awareness and raising money for Nomni. We need to raise money because I don't know how much money you spent on your mental health, but it cost me $35,000 a month to get the help I needed when I was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder. I spent 3 months in an outpatient program, and I was able to change my life because I was an NFL player and I had access to the hospital and I had access to resources.
Right.
So we need to raise money, guys. And then also we want you guys to know that you're not alone. Metta, there's so much going on in the world right now. There's racial tension, police brutality, but there's also people dealing with mental health challenges for the first time ever, anxiety, depression. What do you say to those people at home tuning in that may be dealing with things for the very first time, or maybe just dealing with things, the same things they've been dealing with for the past 5-10 years? What can you do?
Absolutely. And I would say, take a deep breath, try to breathe in for 5 seconds, breathe out for 5 seconds. Really think about the anxiety that's approaching. Think about the depression that you're having, if you're having any issues. Try to gain control over your breath so you can be centered, so you can make good decisions moving forward. We know this is a tough time from the effects that we're having mentally, from the police brutality that we're seeing that live on television, and then also from the COVID-19. We're dealing with so much in the world, and I would say try to gain control over your breath. Take a couple seconds to breathe, repeat it, and then go from there, and hopefully your thoughts will be clear and you'll feel better.
What's interesting is that when we first started our foundation in 2011, there was a lot of people talking about meditation and breath work. And to me, it was just like, oh, that's nothing. Like, where's the medicine? Where's the drugs? Where are the hospitals and the machines? But the most impactful thing I think out there is meditation and breath work. And I'm glad that you mentioned that, because that is something that we all have access to. And it costs nothing for us to sit down and just be at peace or just be still. A lot of people think that meditation, like there's a right way to do it. There's no right or wrong way to meditate. The thing that you're just trying to do is just trying to get back to the present moment. And it's like a muscle. The more you work, the more you do it, the stronger you will get. You start with 30 seconds, then you get to a minute after a week or two. Then you'll get up to 10, then you get up to 30. If you want to sit there for an hour, great. But I'm so glad you brought that up, man. As a player, was that something that you tapped into before games, after games?
Yeah, I tapped into it, I would say about the age of 28. About the age of 25, 26, I was learning. Then 27, 28, I was getting better and understanding it. Oh, wow, this is something that's real. The first time I took the session, I was like, okay, I'm going to breathe. I'm out of here, But then I started to really adapt it and apply it to my life. And I would absolutely focus on it in the game.
It's awesome. Man, you have some amazing kids, man. You have 4. They're doing some amazing things. Where's their mental health awareness? Because they saw you go through, maybe they saw some of the things that you've gone through, and then they saw you walk the halls of Congress and stand on your platform. I feel like it took us a long time to actually understand what mental health is. So as a father, like, how intentional have you been with them?
Yeah, very much open. I tell my children, if you want to seek help, do it. If you're feeling a certain way, if you're feeling bad one day or some anxiety, and you can't talk to your parents, it's okay to go see a therapist. So it's pretty much instilled in them to always better yourself and empower yourself.
That's good. That's good, man. All right. Metta World Peace. Talk to me about this name. Where did this come from?
Absolutely. It came from a little bit of wanting to set the narrative, and you're setting the stage on who you are instead of someone else giving you your name. Even though my parents gave me my name, I wanted to tell people who I was, or tell myself who I am, not someone else. And Metta is a Buddhist name. So I took on the Buddhist faith, I would say about the 2009. I started to really get into it. I'm really into Buddhism and meditation and yoga and different holistic approaches, to mental health. So that's pretty much where it came from. And then the World Peace, I was trying to find a last name, and I was just like, that was the hardest thing ever, was the last name. I said, you know what, World Peace is it.
That's awesome, man. What's the most amazing thing you've experienced on this mental fitness journey? Like, catch me now, said
Love
fitness.
Love it.
Right? You got to change it. We got to change the narrative. Like, mental health is great, but, I feel like it's a thin line between impairment and performance. So when we think about, this journey, there's a lot of great things that happen, and there's a lot of bad things that happen. And the bad things for me is, like, not everyone makes it, right? Like, we lose people every single day. So what was one of those great moments that you've experienced through this journey? Something that's like, man, that really just happened.
One of the things I'm really proud of and happy that hit me was connecting with nature more. when you look at the earth and we want to explore and we want to love all humans and everything, and it's hard to do that. You have to travel, you can't meet everybody. But you can do that with, connecting with air and somehow connecting it to another human across the globe. Or even, when you go into the ocean and you touch that water, that's the closest that you're going to be to connecting with another part, another land, someone else, somewhere else, maybe in the same water that you're in, so it's different ways that I can connect with people that I like to connect with, the world and other people. I also like to think about it when I talk about trees and the roots, how the roots go down, to the earth, and just touching a tree and thinking that someone else is connected to me through soil at this point in time. Sometimes I really appreciate that I'm able to, expand, not only trying to get mentally healthy, but evolving and going beyond, mental health, which is like, mental fitness, which I really like.
Well, Metta World Peace, thank you so much, man, for your time.
Absolutely.
Like you said, mindfulness is a form of meditation. You can practice it anywhere at any time. So tap into that. You are not alone. You heard it from Metta. You're not alone. If you need help, seek help, reach out. Also, if you can, we know that the economy is wacky right now, but if you can donate, please donate to NAMI so they can continue to do amazing work.
Yes.
They're literally saving lives around this country. So thank you, Metta. We really appreciate you, man.
Thank you, man. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Now we're going to send it back to the crew.